Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to the Boulder Side of Wellness bonus episode. So I'm Lisa Barrows. You guys all know my awesome co-host Ashley Palmer, and we got an opportunity. We were able to link up with one of our members. Her name is Jackie Tripp, who also co-hosts a podcast. And this was awesome. This podcast is all about mental health. It is ex-athletes getting rid of stigmas, getting together. The energy, the vibe check was real. It was a great opportunity. So just take some time, watch their episode coming up soon. It was an awesome thing. Please follow them on Instagram, follow them on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. They are at the KG podcast. Awesome. Also same YouTube, Instagram, all of that. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at the Boulder Side of Wellness. You can follow me at Honestly Lisa B. Follow Ashley at Ashley Palmer Fit. In exciting news, we also have the Boulder Side of Wellness website is up and running. So it's www.thebouldersideofwellness.com. Now, without further ado, dare you to match the energy of this podcast.
What's going on, team? Welcome to episode 43 of the Keep Going podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health. This is your co-host, Luke Wheat, coming out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm joined today by Pat O'Malley and Jackie Tripp. First off, start the episode. Happy birthday, Jackie Tripp. How are we feeling today?
Good, feeling good. I went out with some friends last night, and then I'm going to get lunch with my parents and my sister in a little bit.
Absolutely love it, Pat. How are we feeling?
Feeling good. Anytime we can celebrate the Tripp twins on a fine Sunday with football included, podcast. There's just so many good things to celebrate and be happy about. And one of those things is having these awesome ladies on today, Ashley and Lisa, which we'll get into. But Luke, before we go into that, man, what did you do this week for your mental health?
Yeah, I'm digging into conscious coaching. So I wasn't sure if I did that. I missed last week's episode with the Peterson brothers. Which was a big miss for me because Jake's one of my best buddies in the whole world. I think it's just the universe keeping all that energy off of one podcast. I think it would have exploded. I think the file would have been corrupt. I think that was probably the issue. But no, man, I connected with Jake a little bit, and I've been reading Conscious Coaching. It's all about how to coach the individual athlete and how to coach, in a team setting, but to the individual at the same time. And it's been a really cool read, and I'm about halfway through it.
Yeah, shameless plug, Luke, for your one-on-one interview. I know you brought that up this week early on. And then shameless plug for the Peterson episode. We just keep bringing these amazing people on. And Jake and Ray were no different there. And we missed you. We wish we had you, Luke, but we try to do the best we can, man. We try to do the best we can. So,
you all crushed
Jackie, how about you?
You all crushed it.
Speaking of last week's episode, they mentioned, Luke, I mentioned you in last week's episode because they talked about breathing. So this week I made an effort to every day for 10 minutes do a breathing exercise, and they're really hard to do during the moment, but after I notice I feel less anxious. They're good. They keep me grounded.
It's so tough in the moment. It feels like it's the hardest thing ever, right?
Yes.
Just to breathe correctly in the moment, but it is very rewarding after you've done it a couple times and feel like you're in the rhythm. That's awesome. I love that one.
No, that's real too. I think people often, I saw this cool clip up picture the other day about how a guy's the doctor and a doctor is tickling his feet and treating him for a headache because people don't realize that happiness, laughter, breathing, posture, this is so key when it comes to your mental health. And I thought that was an awesome graphic. And I love what Luke touched on. I love Jackie shouting him out last week, but simple things like that we kind of take for granted. And I know when you get sick and you can't breathe, we take that for granted, right? So I think understanding, hey, these are all little things with our mental health that we can do. I'm going to introduce Lisa and Ashley. Mine was very, very brief this week. I actually went to Notre Dame yesterday with my girlfriend's family, which was awesome. And anytime I can get to be around, people that have that higher power, have that belief, and Notre Dame by 3 touchdowns. Come on. That was my mental health. Awesome. So that was my shout out. But Ashley and Lisa, I'm going to start with Lisa Powers. Talk to me. What did you do this week for your mental health?
So I work a ton, and so does Ashley. She's going to attest to that one. So for me, it's very big, like time outside every day. I have 2 dogs that holds me accountable, but just that time in nature, quiet time by myself, think about my day and plan it out is huge for me.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Love that. Organizational and getting away from that grind. Because like you said, you're doing a lot of that. Love that. Ashley,
Right.
how about you, girl?
So Lisa literally just took what I was just about to say.
Oh,
So we live on the East Coast, so like the seasons are starting to change a lot. Except for today, it's like 80 degrees out for some reason. I'm not complaining, but I've like made a pact with myself, like going into the fall. I love the fall, but I know what's to come after the fall, and that's winter. So trying to spend as much time outside, no matter what, even if it's like cloudy out, like not every day sunshine and rainbows, but just trying to get outside and just like Lisa said, be with nature. And then just kind of taking time to myself. I was listening to one of your podcasts like an hour ago about
thank you, by the way. That's super sweet. Go ahead.
about like putting your phone away when you work out. I forget who said it. It might have been Jackie. That she said that she was like putting her phone away while she was working out. So I'm trying to like I need music, but I just like put my phone to the side or put it on like in the locker room or something, so that I'm like solely just focusing on my workout. Still have my music going, but so that's just like a time for me.
I love that. Love that. And those are 2 great weekly mental health tips for anybody listening out there. Easy things to implement, right? Maybe not easy in the fact that, you got to make time for it, but they're super simple and they're achievable, right? I love that. So for the people that don't know, Ashley, Lisa, tell the people what you do. Ashley, we'll start with you.
So I'm a personal trainer. I've been a certified personal trainer for I think 5 years now, which is crazy to think about. But I work at Plymouth Fitness. So does Lisa. I'm one of the trainers. We have a podcast ourselves.
Shout it out. Please shout it out.
Yeah.
It's called The Boulder Side of Wellness. So you can find us on Spotify and Apple. And I am a health coach. So I love what I do. I love seeing people get just like a little bit better every single day and kind of being their why and, guiding them through life and whatnot.
Awesome. Lisa, go ahead.
Yeah, so I work with Ashley. Shout out Ashley too. She works with post-cancer patients. We run a wellness burst together. Like she's one of our top grossing trainers. I just wanted to beef her up a little bit. But I'm the operations manager over there. So I oversee kind of the back office in the club. I dabble in group exercise and personal training as well, run the wellness group, the podcast, and kind of wear any hats I can to help people better themselves.
Yeah, Luke, I'm hearing a lot, and Jackie, I'm going to throw you kind of a bone here, but I'm hearing a lot of help, impact.
Yes.
That is why you're here. Jackie, I know you brought these guests on. We don't know Ashley. We do not know Lisa. So kind of tell our audience why you brought them on.
Well, I mean, I knew I was going to ask them, but the reason I brought them on too is because there's a lot of personal trainers like out there. There are a lot of gyms where we live, but there's not a lot of gyms where you go in and like everybody knows everybody, and everybody that works there, including Ashley and Lisa, like it's not just a job for them, like it's a part of their like family and community. Like they call it their second family community, and I just have always loved that aspect of how they see their job. And obviously they started their podcast, but I mean, you guys just base your life around like wellness and relationships. So I know you bring a lot to the table on that sense.
Yeah, I love that. Very nice.
100%.
Very nice. Yeah, go ahead, Luke.
So one of the things I'm kind of curious about, we can kind of jump right into, the training aspect of this and the mental health aspect. I coach soccer, so it's a little bit different environment. I get to work with goalkeepers, so it is a little bit more personal that way, about a group of 3 or 4 most of the time. But the personal training environment, how do you take care of your athletes' mental health?
Go ahead, Ash.
You want me to start? Okay. I think, and I always say this, as a trainer, I feel like I am part therapist. Obviously, like
yeah,
I don't have the credentials. Anyone who's clientele based gets it. Whether you're a hairdresser or you're a personal trainer, you're listening to people for an hour, a half an hour, whatever it is. So I always like make it a point to just listen to what your client has to say while you work out with them. You know, I always say, like, if I'm with someone who is training with me for an hour, we have an hour, so we're going to be talking. Unless you want to sit in silence for an hour, we're going to talk. We're going to get close. You're going to be like kind of my friends, sort of, because we are training together. So I think it's important. I always say, you know, to new trainers coming on, listen to your clients. That's like the first step in anything. Listen to what they need from you, aside from, you know, the personal training aspect or the physical aspect. How can you help them outside of just the gym?
Yeah.
Love it.
And I'm going to swing it to Lisa. I love the one-on-one. You know, it's your responsibility to build that credibility and connection. And I think that's such a lost art, especially in our age bracket in 2023, where people kind of get on autopilot, right? And they're like, well, I have to do this, this, and this. And I don't even know Ashley's last name, but I have to work out with her. But you can really take that step up and gain credibility and really care about people by taking that time. I love that.
Yeah, and like, and building,
like, ahead,
and like building rapport, like that's something I learned in my textbooks. Like that's something you learn from the jump. Build rapport with your clients, so that they feel like they're coming to more than just a like personal training session with you.
That's so refreshing to know you're doing that day in and day out, because that's not. I love how it's textbook, but it's not normal. Like it's not normal for people for really like to lock in. It's my hour. You're gonna get my best hour. All right, now let's do it to Lisa. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we work specifically with a wellness group based on weight loss too. And a lot of the time we have people who think if I lose that 10, 15 pounds, things are better. But really, like, something has to change internally for things to start to feel better. So as much as that's a goal for a lot of our clients, like we talk a lot about like, well, how are you feeling? Like getting to feel good in the body you're in and realizing maybe you're not 20 anymore. So you're not going to have that old body, but feeling good where we are. Like a lot of women we work with, like, you're strong. Like, let's work with that. Let's use that and making them feel good, because it starts inside. You could lose enough weight, but until you start to feel good inside, it's not going to feel better.
Yeah, I think that's massive. And I think it's almost like a fake it till you make it kind of deal. Come in and be confident and believe in yourself, and then eventually you will. I think that's massively important when you're starting a new journey, training new movements, or doing a new sport and later in life. I think that's massive.
No doubt. No doubt.
And,
go ahead.
Oh, when we get results, I've always said, like, yeah, your numbers are fantastic, but we do a post assessment and they come in smiling and dancing a little bit and just like excited. And for me, that's like yep, this is my why. This is why I'm here right now.
Yeah.
Is that light bulb moment just your favorite thing in the world?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's worth the time, the journals we have to read, the conversations, the workouts, like everything. That moment when they're like, I feel good. That's fills our cup 100%.
I know me and Jackie have had conversations on this. It's making people believe in themselves, because you can spend hundreds of dollars and hundreds of hours, and you could have the world in front of you and a guide, but until you believe in yourself, it's really tough. I know Jackie's writing some notes down, so I'm going to her next.
No, you kind of just all hit the nail on the head. I think it's just about, like what Luke said, fake it till you make it. Like there's a quote that goes, the action comes before the confidence. Like the confidence doesn't come before the action. You have to do the action to then get the confidence. And I think people get that twisted, but I like that quote, and that just reminded me of that, everything you guys were just saying.
No, fantastic. All right, Luke, what do you got?
Yeah, so you know, one thing that the book I've been reading talking about at the moment, right? You've got, it breaks it down into different personalities. I think it breaks it down into 8 different personalities or so, you know, whether that's all there is. But I think the big thing for the personal training part, like Ashley was touching on, it tells me as a team coach, I need to be interacting with every individual once a day. And that's tough in the team setting, but in the personal training setting, that can be, you know, one of the most gratifying things. So Ashley, just tell me a little bit. You've been doing it for 4 years. And, you know, you can keep their identity confidential, or you can not say their name or anything, but tell me a really cool, empowering story that you've encountered in the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh, okay. So So one of my best friends, I know Lisa's life thinks of who I'm about to say right now. One of my best friends went through a really tough time, like this past year and like the past 2 years. And physically, he was pretty overweight for himself and where he wanted to be. And he decided to take up running and wanted to run a marathon, which he is running in November. His first ever marathon, which is crazy. I don't know how people do it, but he kind of had like that aha moment about like a year and a half ago, where sometimes when you're at the lowest point in your life, that's when you realize, okay, I got to make a change, or this is just going to go downhill. So at that point, I didn't really know him, but I started training him about a year ago, right around this time. And he is like an ex-soccer player. So he's been through the sports and everything, had a really bad injury. So he had to stop kind of doing what he loved to do. And his soccer coach, always told him to lift, and he didn't want to. And then one of his friends put me and him together, and he wanted to support me because I was a woman trainer, which kudos to him. That is like super nice. But so he trained with me. He's been training with me for about a year now. And not only does he physically feel the best he's ever felt in years, but he's happier. He's happier with himself. He's surrounding himself with better people because he feels good about himself internally and externally. He's going to be running his first marathon in November. His times for his runs have gone down significantly from lifting weights, which you don't hear a lot with runners and lifting weights. I guess maybe more now, but back in the day, it was just run. You don't need to lift weights. So another like aha moment for him, but it's just really cool to see someone go from 0 to 100 physically, mentally, emotionally. So he's probably one of my biggest success stories. So, and he's probably lost over 70 pounds, and you can just see it when you see like pictures of him. Like you can just see how much happier he is. So that's probably one of the best ones I have so far.
I wanna swing it over to Lisa. Ashley just smiled through that whole thing. That made me so happy. That was amazing. We shared in APs all the time, like our accountability partner chat about just pictures and gifts and things like that. And it's like that. It's not cookie cutter, but like you can domino effect and affect people in a row, kind of just keep it going. You changed that person's life. And not only that, but now it's going to affect the next person. I think that's so powerful. But yeah, Luke and Jackie, I'll let you chime in, then we'll go to Lisa. That's amazing. I'm smiling over here too.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
I like how you said that he started surrounding himself with better people, because he probably, when he was at a low, maybe wasn't going to a gym and didn't have a trainer. It's like if you show me your friends, show your future, and like you're helping him by bringing him in to this big community and gym that he's a part of, which is awesome. And like you're supporting him at the level of a trainer, but also at the level of like a friend and a family member, and he probably needed that too, which is amazing.
100%. So Lisa, I want to swing it over to you. The same similar question. I know your day-to-day looks a little bit different. You're in the background, even though you're doing group sessions and a little bit of personal training on the side. What's been your favorite part about working at Plymouth Fitness and the success stories you've seen?
It's a little different, but it was actually working with a staff member. So previous to Plymouth Fitness, I was working in trampoline parks, and I had a lot of young staff, 16, just like learning how to be an employee, which was super interesting. And one of them's actually followed me over to Plymouth Fitness, and she went from somebody who didn't understand why we couldn't like go get Wendy's after work because I was her boss and an employee, to like a professional, somebody who's grown, and somebody who like tells everybody, like Lisa told me, how to be an employee. And it's just a huge growth. Like I was always a coach too, so I was an ex-athlete, and I've had good coaches and bad coaches, and I've brought that into being a manager, being a wellness coach and all of that, because I wanted to be the one you look back at and like, yeah, they were a part of my journey rather than the one that was like, oh, those were some tough years. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I love that.
Let me piggyback off that because we have a lot of listeners that are players, they're coaches, they're employees, they're bosses, they're in leadership positions, and I hate to say it, might not even know it. So let me, just for our listeners, biggest thing for you in that leadership role, in that management role, when you have people under you, what's your number one thing if you had to tell someone like a starter manual kind of deal?
For me, it's that like all I need for you is to come and show up every day ready because I can teach you everything else, but it's got to be a positive attitude walking in the door. It may be the busiest day of our entire year. It may be that we are going to find things to clean that you didn't think we needed to clean. But if you come in with a good attitude, like we can train you and teach you to do what you need to do.
You think positivity is a superpower?
100%. And doing it when it's not a positive situation is like a little even more.
Yeah, 100%. That's something. It reminds me of last night, right? We're playing Averett. Go up 1-0. I think they tie 1-1. Anyway, we're up 2-1, right? And the game, one of our players makes a pretty big mistake, right? Like one of those things that you don't see happen in college sports a lot. So it's kind of out of the blue. We give the ball up to a forward that's standing wide open. Then he passes in the goal 2-2. We get a red card 5 minutes later, right? All these things are going against us, but I was so proud of the team because of how they responded after each mistake, and they were able to hold the draw, just being a man down. But it was all about that positivity they had in the face of adversity, and it was amazing. It's tough to do in the moment. I tried to use some of the breathing exercises like in the moment, like Jackie was talking about. I was pulling out all the stops, but luckily the student athletes there also were just being super positive. So positivity, it can change people for the better and moments for the better for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Jackie here. In the midst of chaos, that will not change who I am. That's it. In the midst of chaos, when everything is hung up around me, I will keep going forward. I think that's one of our mantras, one of our prefaces of why we do this is to show athletes that everything, or to show other people too, that when things are not going well, you can be the difference. You can be the change. And I promise you, they will follow you. And your team seem to do that because it starts at the top, Luke, and how you carry yourself. So kudos to you there, brother. Jackie, what do you got?
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah, all I have to say on this is it just comes down to like controlling the controllables, and it starts from the top. So like in management positions, coaching positions, training positions, you can't always control what's going to come your way, but if you can control positivity, then you're good and you'll be able to weather any storms.
Yeah, fantastic. And like what Milet says, like Ed Milet, I listen to a lot of his pod stuff. He always talks about when you get into an interview like this, it could go 3-4 hours. This is one of those right now because I'm loving it. I'm going to be very selfish for you guys. I know like a lot of our guests, you're very modest, right? You're very servant leadership. It's about other people. I want to dig into why you guys are here today, kind of more with you guys. So I'm going to start with Lisa. We ask our guests every week, what's your keep going moment?
So, I mean, for me, it was being an athlete. When I was a sophomore in high school, I tore my ACL, had a horrible staph infection, was in and out of the hospital for over a month. And then I came back and tore it again, So I had a year where I figure out my identity not being a basketball player. As soon as I could walk, my dad was like, here, this is now yours to carry everywhere. It was my whole identity. And it was through that year of like going through depression and trying to figure out who I was as a high school student, as a player, as a person, as a woman, and pushing through that to then continue on to play through college. And that's actually when I realized I am more of a coach. I was an athlete, good athlete, played at Bridgewater State, but I was always in a coach. My assistant coach was Murphy.
Hey, we got to shout out Bridgewater State because I know we got a lot of Bridgewater State love in here before I do. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he used to come up to me on the bench and say, Coach, what's next? And I learned that that's the role I was supposed to be in. I was supposed to be motivating. I was supposed to help. So that's when I went into coaching, whether it was middle school when Jackie and her sister were young, coaching them along, or going to help in high school, and now being in a different type of coaching role with wellness, with employment and all that, it's where I was. I step back and I can see and kind of like the big picture to help people to reach their potential.
You are incredible, by the way. Like that was so well spoken. I'm gonna let them say the same thing about you because that's amazing.
Lisa, that's awesome. And I love that you were able to find that out earlier, right? That while you were playing, you still knew that you had that ability to kind of be calm in the situation and either talk your teammates through it back then or whether it's talking to your employees through it right now. That's such an asset to any company, and that's amazing.
Yeah, that was similar to my keep going moment. We've had conversations about this, Lisa, so I kind of could tell where you were going with that. We've talked a lot about athletes and how some athletes either plummet when they get hurt and it sends them into a dark hole, and they either stay there or they find a way out of it. And those are the ones that become like amazing coaches and leaders like you are. So I'm glad that you touched on that. But back to Ashley, what would you say your keep going moment is?
Oh gosh. I feel like I have so many keep going moments because like life is just
First one. Wow, why would you do this to us? Come on.
Yeah.
I guess my why would be why I keep going is just for myself. Everyone goes through ups and downs. I lost my mom at a young age, so 8th grade, I think I was 13, 14. And from that point on, like that's the reason I am who I am today. The attitude I have, the reason why I'm such like a confident person, and I always talk about confidence. If you know me, Jackie and Lisa, they know I always talk about confidence and how important it is in order to, go through life successfully, happily. So I would personally say for me, my why is my mom and myself. I was like 90, 100 pounds soaking wet in high school. And I went to Bridgewater State University as well, did track and field, did not like my coach. So I ended up stopping the sport that I loved to play, which was awful, but it didn't make me happy anymore. My coach didn't make me happy. So I kind of took life in my own hands, and I'm a strong individual now, physically, mentally. I've totally transformed myself physically. Still working emotionally, but physically, I am
little by little.
strongest. Yep, the strongest person for myself today. So just keep going for myself and for the people that are 18, 16, the girls that are afraid of lifting weights or afraid of men in the, no offense guys, are afraid of the guys in the lifting rooms because they're lifting so much weight. Like, you can also be in the lifting room with them.
Girls lift more than me, Ashley. It's okay. Girls lift more than I'm intimidated by the girls in the weight room.
That's what I want, kind of. I want guys to kind of be intimidated of women in a way because we are capable of so much.
Oh my goodness. If I had to think of the last, I've been smiling the whole time. I haven't stopped. The last 2 minutes, strength is what comes to mind. Strength. Because I can tell it's coming out of your chest. Like what you're talking about, it's so heartfelt. I love that. And I want to eliminate that stigma, right? My girlfriend, who I shout out all the time, is a Division I athlete at Stony Brook. She has more athletic ability, more heart, more love than I have. Like she has in her pinky that I have in my whole body. And I work out together and she kicks my butt. So I love that, how you're ending that stigma and you're letting girls know we control this. We have the strength. We can do these things. And you're such a true testament to that, Ashley. I'm falling in love with what you're talking about. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Luke, Jackie.
That's yeah. No, I kind of understand that sentiment, right? Being a weaker guy, the average guy, the weight room is an intimidating place, right? I did my first actual strength workout yesterday. The only other person in the weight room was my head coach at the college I'm working at now. Thank the Lord, because I honestly don't know if I would have gone in the gym and actually worked out yesterday if there were other people in there.
So it's funny. It's funny that you say that. I just want to interrupt that. It's funny that you say that because I don't tell a lot of people. But like when I was an athlete and we would have to lift in the same room with the guys, I don't know why. Like I hated it back then. Now I'd go in there like I wouldn't have an issue, but I would be in the corner deadlifting with the training bar, which weighs 35 pounds, like terrified of what other people thought of me. But now that I look back on it, it's like, okay, I did it. Like, and it got me to where I am today. So,
yeah. Well, I know for me, it's like one of my bad habits is feeling like I have to explain myself why I'm doing something. Like, so yesterday I'm squatting with a 45 bar, right? And that's it. But I haven't worked out in forever. But if I was in there with other people and we were kind of chopping it up or talking, I would have felt like I would have had to explain just the whole reason why I'm doing that. It's like, oh, it's not because I'm weak. It's because of this and that. So yesterday it was just getting in there and trying to get the movements back and just trying to be as comfortable as I could in the weight room.
I don't know how we got here. I'm going to go to Jackie. I don't know how we got to this spot, but like you have to do it for you. And I think that's why I love what Ashley and Lisa do for a living because like you're teaching people, hey, it's got to be you. And this is how we're going to do it because like when you get there, it's going to be so worth it. Luke, I had a similar journey, right? Like a lot of athletes do where it's intimidating. It's hard. It's simple. Just do the workout sheet, but it's hard. And it's like you have to get in and beat a lot of demons that you have. Jackie, go ahead.
Well, we talk every week, right, about like physical and mental health. I've had a conversation with probably each of you individually. Like I think Lisa and I talked like last week about this, how physical health is mental health. And I just want to shout out Lisa and Ashley because I've known both of you for a while. And I knew Ashley when you were like the skinnier track runner, and I've watched you become like Ashley walks. They're both being humble. Ashley walks around the gym, and her back is just like so chiseled. And then Lisa walks in, and she's just strutting, and like they own the place, but they weren't always like that, which is why I want to include this piece because Lisa has gone through some hardships in the past few years. I've watched Ashley grow mentally and physically, but they've both done it because they've used the gym as an outlet and they've showed up for themselves. They weren't there to impress anyone else. They were doing it because they wanted to grow mentally and physically. And you can see that when they walk into a room and you can tell that they've grown that way because they want to project that onto like everybody else. And it's just like a prime example of why you need to show up for you because they've just like consistently done it. And I've been able to watch them do that and grow. So I just wanted to show you guys out there.
No, that's it. Go ahead, Lisa.
I just want to piggyback off of that. I think a lot of times when you're in a helper role, you put yourself last. And like, I know Ashley and I've talked about this, Jackie, as a coach, like you're like, oh, everybody else is first. And in my last few years of learning a lot about myself, I've really had to continually remind myself because like mental health is not I fixed it and it's done. It is an everyday process that if I am not at my best mentally, emotionally, if I'm not organized, I cannot be what I need to be for other people. And I'm very prideful of what I do for other people. So if I'm not my best, I can't be the best for my boyfriend. I can't be the best for the kids, for even my dogs. Like I need to take care of me in order to do what I love to do.
Yeah. If you're filling cups, you better be drinking out of yours too. Luke, you got something?
Yeah, I had this exact conversation with my partner the other day, Spencer Ann, and I'm teaching in the mornings and then going to coach for the college, which is a little bit longer schedule in the day than it is coaching for high school. I can have time to myself in the evenings when I'm doing high school because we're done by 5:30. College coaching, you're done at 8. You get home at 9 and blah, blah, blah. So I've had to start implementing a 5 a.m. like wake up time just to have 30 minutes for myself in the morning. I think it's already started helping so much the first week of it, right? I feel like I'm ready to go teach. I feel like I'm ready to go pour into others and pour into the students, be a better teacher, be a better coach just because of that. So like, just like Pat said, if you're filling up other cups, you got to be drinking from your own for sure.
Yeah. You have to make that time. I think life's too short, right? We get into the grind and nitty gritty and we look back and we go, I didn't do anything for me. That's my worst fear. I work with thousands of athletes across the country. That's my biggest fear. So anyone listening to this is your sign. It's a Sunday. I don't care if it's rainy like it is in Chicago or wherever you're at. go do something for you. We are at the 40-minute mark, and we've been doing this now for a long time. But Mikey Tosado was one of our guests, one of my former teammates, and he talked about the giving people their flowers moment. So I want to respect that today. So we'll start with Ashley. What's something that you haven't talked about that you wanted to talk about in this podcast? Take the FaceTime, make some impact.
Something I want to talk about?
Yeah, something that you want to talk about. Anything. Give your flowers moment for you.
I just think it kind of piggyback off what Lisa said, how important it is to take care of yourself. Because like she said, like if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of other people. At the end of the day, you are who you have. You're the only person that you have. No matter whether you're in a relationship, you have dogs, cats, whatever it is, you are the last person. At the end of the day, you hop into bed and whatever it is. And if you look back, like you said, in 10 years and you realize, wow, I really wasn't taking care of myself, and here I am today. Like, don't ever like get into that situation where you do have to look back and be like, wow, not that I wasted this much time, but like I need to take action now. And do what I need to do so that I can be the best version for myself, so then I can be the best version for my partner, my friends. If you don't take care of yourself, things don't flourish. So mental health is just so important. You guys talk about it all the time, but here I am just going to reiterate that.
Oh, your strength, it's strength with you, and I love it. Would you change any of this? Would you change any of your journey?
No. Not even nothing. I am who I am because of what I've gone through. So,
I love that.
People call me the mother of the friend group, and it makes sense. Like, I lost my mom at a young age, so I started to implement motherly characteristics, motherly instincts, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Your mom is so damn proud of you. I promise you that.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, you broke up. I don't know.
Lisa, go ahead.
Yeah. I think a big thing for me when I'm like working with anybody is just to know that like having feelings is okay. We work a lot with clients in their 50s to 60s, and that was kind of like the suck it up buttercup generation. And we didn't talk about our mental health, or you're just being whiny or be a man. And it's okay to not be okay. There's like ways to work with that, whether it's, needing some time away or whatever it is, but it is okay. And knowing that and accepting that you're not okay is going to be how you work through it with your mental health, rather than just being like, I'm going to put this in the back of my mind to explode later. That is somebody I used to be, and it was not good. And so now just like accepting, like, I need 20 minutes because like, we had a guest last week on our podcast say we have big feelings right now, and I love that. But like, take your big feelings, feel them, and then go.
Big feelings. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Put that on a
shirt.
Yeah,
big feelings from the Keep Going podcast. That's funny, man. But no, the ladies, we really appreciate you jumping on here and taking time out of your Sunday. We're going to link all your socials. So if you get blown up with questions about personal training or how to be a better boss or all these different things, don't be surprised. Our network's a strong one. And we're excited for your all's network to get to hear your perspective on these things as well. And thank you for what you do for the fitness community and all you trainees out there and all your clients out there.
I have to say one thing too, and I'll let Jackie put a bow on this. I have to thank Jackie and the connection to you guys, because like any time that we jump on a podcast and we're learning, we're enlightened, like this has been the whole time. I'm sitting here on a cardboard box at my facility. I wish I was taking notes. I'm going to have to run this back. But I want to thank Jackie and the connections that she's made with you guys, because I can see why you guys are homies, right? It's not hard to see. Jackie, go ahead.
No, I told you I wouldn't steer you wrong. I said they'll speak for themselves. This is a good episode, though. We could have gone for like 2 hours.
Put the bar up.
I know. Caroline's got some. She's got to perform.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, good episode. You both have empowering stories. I obviously knew a lot about them. I'm glad we got to go deeper in it today, and I'm glad that Pat and Luke got to hear from you guys, and that we're going to be able to have this platform that we're able to share it on. And I'll probably see you tomorrow at the gym.
And you can run it back at the gym tomorrow for sure. Go ahead, Pat.
Can I ask you something real quick, if you don't mind?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, no, the other Jackie. Yeah.
What do these? I'll let you get out of here, guys. What do these ladies mean to you?
I think, I mean, I have a twin, obviously. If nobody knows that, I don't know, you're listening to the wrong podcast. But I obviously have a sister that's my age. I think to them, it's that I've always needed and looked for like strong females in my life that are older than me and that can be role models. And Caroline and I mention all the time, like people that we have, and you two are definitely always on the list of like older role models that have kind of like just kind of set the bar high as to like what being a confident woman means, pretty much, especially in a gym setting like you mentioned, Ashley. Just and it translates to life too, just being a confident woman and growing and being comfortable in your own skin.
Amazing. We can't wrap it up any better than that. You guys are trendsetters, life changers, and the labor of love here is something I don't think I've experienced on any other episode. So I couldn't be more thankful to have you guys on here, and let's get our communities connected. Let's do what we can do, and let's keep making this impact. And Luke, Jackie, Ashley, Lisa, above all else, let's keep going, okay?
Keep going, man. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Lisa.
Dude, keep going. Thank you, guys.
That's